Hi guys, we're back. Alright, so we actually have a new video. It's actually draft day tonight. Literally right in a couple hours. We will be seeing who is the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. So, obviously I want the Wizards to pick up Alexander Sarr. Apparently he wants to come to DC as well. It's a long time since I've heard anybody say they want to be in DC.
A few moments later.
With the second pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Alex Sarr from Toulouse, France.
I don't think he's going to take us above the threshold of being a bad team, which is good because Cooper Flag, you will be in DC. But for today, what we're going to do is talk about the top 25 players in the NBA right now. In my opinion, because my opinion is gospel, obviously. From 25th all the way up to 1st. Some of these might be a bit closer, I think. When I have clear definitions between two different people, I'll tell you. But when I don't, I'm going to just keep it. You know, I'm going to say two players are close to each other. But if they're in the same bracket, obviously. If they're in two different brackets, they are separated. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe. Got a lot more content coming in the off season. I'm actually making a Victor Wembanyama documentary. I know he's still a kid, but I'm still making the documentary. But it will be great for the people to see that, and so stay tuned and you'll see that. Subscribe, hit it. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start with my bottom 5. So 21st to 25th. I have 5 players in here that I think justifiably are here. I think they're still great players. Let's not get it twisted. They're still amazing players in their own right. They're top 25 players in the league. Obviously, they're amazing players. I just don't think they're on the top 20 side. We have Bam Adebayo, DPOY candidate. Great player, great glue guy, great connector. Not a great shooter, but can do everything else on the floor. Can guard 1 through 5. Fantastic player and plays well in the playoffs. We have Paul George. I think is a player that Paul George fluctuates a lot on this list. Paul George can go up, Paul George can go down. I think he started the season fantastically last season. He started really, really good. But as the season progressed, he just wasn't the same across the entire season. He started off playing at a near enough MVP level, and then he just slowly declined as the season went on. But Paul George is a player that if he can keep consistency up, maybe we'll see him in Golden State this season. Maybe we'll see him back in LA. Who knows? No. But if he can keep consistency up, he could obviously climb these rankings. Next, we have Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings. Jokic light, I guess. Another player that is a great connector. He's a player that can unlock everybody else in his team, can unlock Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, obviously De'Aaron Fox, and he's a player that you can build a team around. I'm sorry to say I didn't have De'Aaron Fox in this list at all, but I mean, I think Sabonis is better. I think Sabonis had close to MVP caliber season last season. I think he probably would have been top 10 for me in MVP rankings because of what he does and how much he unlocks for the Sacramento Kings offensively. Defensively, there's question marks around him, but offensively, no one can say anything about him. I mean, last season they had the best offense of all time. Tells you everything you need to know. Next, I have Zion Williamson. I know. He's above players like Bam Adebayo, who's shown he can do it consistently at the highest level and in the playoffs. But Zion Williamson has played maybe 60 games in his NBA career and has 2 All-Star appearances. That should tell you how good Zion is. I mean, obviously he has to get the fitness issues, overcome those, but if he does, he is a force to be reckoned with. The Lakers this season are tremendously lucky he was injured. So lucky. Lakers? Or whoever the Lakers faced them now. No, they made it to the playoffs. Who did the Pelicans face? OKC. The Oklahoma City Thunder are majorly lucky that Zion Williamson was injured. Because honestly, who's guarding him in OKC? Nobody. Not a single soul can guard that man in Oklahoma City. And finally, I have Jimmy Butler, a playoff performer, but I can't lie, Jimmy, you have to do it in the regular season. I'm tired of waiting to the playoffs because the best players in the world do it consistently across the regular season and then in the playoffs as well. Now, you perform at the highest stakes, obviously, but I'm talking about the best players and not just the players that perform when it counts. I mean, I want you to perform on a rainy, wet night in Detroit as well. Sorry, Jimmy. But still, top 21st isn't that bad, so you can live with it. The next category is a bit more harder to gauge in between. Bottom of this, I have Kyrie Irving. I love Kyrie Irving. I know a lot of people love Kyrie Irving. I was actually telling my friend about this list, shout out Jason, and he was perplexed as to why I had Kyrie Irving at 20th. Well, you'll see when the list come out, every other media publication will have, I say other, but every media publication will have him at 25th. And I'm not lying, you know I'm not lying. They're going to have Kyrie Irving at 25th. Kyrie Irving was great this season. Didn't perform the entire season. He was injured for a lot of it. But he hasn't been better than the players above him. I'm sorry to say, he just hasn't. And he's been great. He's great in the playoffs up until the final. The final performance was quite disappointing. I'm not gonna lie, Kyrie. But I love Kyrie more than most people love Kyrie. So I think he's gonna consistently perform to this level, probably for the rest of his career. He shot nearly 50, 40, 90 last season. Obviously playing with this player like Luka Doncic takes a bit of the weight off his shoulders, and obviously being the secondary star takes a lot of the weight off his shoulders, but still Kyrie Irving, one of the best Robins in basketball today. Next, I have Tyrese's. I didn't know which one to go on top of the other. I'm gonna give the edge to Tyrese Halliburton just because he leads the Indiana Pacers and they made it to a conference final, and he led the league in assists, and had like an offensive rating, I think it was like 128, which is abhorrent. 128.6 I think I looked. Him and Shea had 128.6, which is crazy stuff for guards. But obviously, and he shoots like 8 threes a game, which is crazy to have an offensive rating when you're shooting threes, playing alongside a lot of non-shooters in Indiana. I will say a lot of non-shooters. It's crazy to see the offensive prowess of the Indiana Pacers, and it's mostly because he can unlock everybody else. Like Miles Turner put up a near all-star level, all-star caliber season last season because of how good that man was, Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Maxey obviously just below him on my list, but I mean, I can understand if you have Tyrese Maxey above. He's shown with a lot of the injuries this season to Joel Embiid that he can really, his first season actually being, for a lot of the games, the best player on the court or the best player on his team, and he's shown he can lead his team, lead them to some wins. Not a lot of wins, that's why I have him below Tyrese Halliburton. When he played and he was the leader, they were worse as a team. But still, great shooter. He's improved tremendously as a playmaker, so much. He used to be quite a below average playmaker for his position, but he's a great playmaker now. And obviously with James Harden gone, he's taken on that role and been great. But for me, he is 24th, I believe. Oh no, not 24th. Sorry, he's 19th on the list. Obviously 18th, Tyrese Halliburton. And then 17th and 16th, I had between Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell. My opinion changes on this constantly. I think Donovan Mitchell's playoff resume supersedes anything we've seen from Devin Booker. But if you're talking right now, I would probably give the edge to Devin Booker. But Devin Booker has had a lot of collapse in the playoff. Not a lot, he's had two. He's had two. I think he didn't collapse this season. He collapsed against the Bucks in the finals, and he collapsed against the Dallas Mavericks against Luka. But I mean, Donovan Mitchell last season against the Knicks wasn't amazing either. So it was the Knicks. I can't remember who. But yeah, I think it's interchangeable. I think they're two of the best players, best shooting guards in the league. They're not the two best shooting guards in the league. If you asked me this a season ago, I would have said it's between them two. I don't think they're even top. I mean, depends what you classify Jaylen Brown as. But yeah, neither of them are first, clearly, because there's two people I would say could be classified as shooting guards on top of them. But Devin Booker, great shooter, same as Donovan Mitchell. I watched Donovan Mitchell, my first ever NBA game live, NBA Paris against the Nets, and he scored 45, I think, that day. It's 45 for 45. But great players, obviously, no complaints. They're 16th and 17th, respectively. At 15th, I have Victor Wembanyama. I'm sorry to say it, he is that good. He is that good. He just is. He's Defensive Player of the Year caliber defensively. Offensively, we've seen him grow into such a beautiful, beautiful player. He's got that moving 3-point shot that's amazing. He can finish inside. Obviously, he's 7'4". I'm pretty sure he's the tallest player in the league. And he has this balance that he can maintain across a game of basketball, where if they gave him the ball more in San Antonio, I'm telling you, they're a play-in team. If he just got a high usage rate, they'd be a play-in team. Give him a point guard as well, and they're a playoff team. Yeah. He's that damn good. In his second season, I can't wait to watch Victor Wembanyama. So number 15, Victor Wembanyama. 14 and 13, I think, are interchangeable for me. Two actually pretty similar players, to be fair. Jaylen Brown and Kawhi Leonard. Jaylen Brown obviously coming off of a finals MVP, one of my favourite players right now. Jaylen Brown holds a part in my heart because he's proved everybody wrong. Everybody said he was overpaid. Everybody made fun of him in the All-Star weekend. And he's the one that goes home to a finals MVP trophy. And you know who. But Jaylen Brown, great finals performance. I love him. You can watch my video I made about him. Kawhi Leonard, obviously we know what he can do. Obviously he was injured at the end of the season last season, but he played for a lot of the season in totality, which we haven't seen Kawhi do for a long time, and he managed to be All-NBA in that period of time. Great offensively, great defensively, not much to say. You know what you're getting with Kawhi Leonard, and that's a lot of mid-ranges and a lot of defense. Number 12 and 11 are the two LA boys, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I do think Anthony Davis is a little bit better than LeBron James right now. Sorry, don't shoot me. I don't think Anthony Davis, his defensive capabilities push him just beyond LeBron James, because Anthony Davis is still a great offensive player as well, where LeBron isn't the defensive player he used to be as in his current state right now, but he's still a top 15 player in the league right now, which is quite tremendous to say, considering he's going into his age 40 season next season, and he still looks like he can put up championship caliber numbers. Still has an average below 25 points since his rookie year. It's insane. But yeah, two Lakers boys, hopefully they can put up a better season with JJ Redick as their coach this season. Now we're in our top 10. At number 10, I have Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson for me was top 5 in MVP voting for me last season. He made my All-NBA first team. He ultimately was in the All-NBA second team because voters are dumb. But I think if you're talking his ability as a player, I had him at 10th. He showed he can showcase his ability again and again on the playoff stage. We did see a lot of foul baiting Jalen, but it's what you do, what you have to do when you're in the playoffs. And I think we've just seen the trade Mikal Bridges go all the way to New York, joining the Villa Knicks, or the Nova Knicks as people call them. We just need Ryan Arcidiacono back in New York. Obviously, Julius Randle coming back. If they can re-sign OG Anunoby, I think they might sign and trade Isaiah Hartenstein. Yes. But we'll see what happens. I really, really like that team. Obviously, you've got imagine this starting five: Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby at the 2, Mikal Bridges at the 3, Julius Randle at the 4, and Mitchell Robinson at the 5. That's fantastic offensively, that's fantastic defensively, that's fantastic from a stretching the floor perspective, that's fantastic inside, that's fantastic mid-range. That is a well-constructed roster, and it challenges, because of the wing stoppers, obviously off the bench as well, Josh Hart, wing stoppers, it challenges a team like the Celtics in a 7-game series. I'm not going to lie to you, I'd be very scared as a Celtics fan if they're able to re-sign OG Anunoby. But that's number 10, Jalen Brunson. We've seen him mid-range, 3-pointer, inside game, only 6'1" on a good day. He's really 6 foot. But yeah, great player, Jalen Brunson. At number 9, I have Kevin Durant, one of the best scorers of all time. We know what he is. He did disappoint a little bit in the playoffs, but we know what he is. We saw him in the regular season. They're going to run it back this season. I just saw Matt Ishbia talk about how much Phoenix loves Kevin Durant. I guess they'll run it back. They need a point guard though in Phoenix. We'll see what happens. At number 8, we have Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, fantastic player. Fantastic. We saw it in the playoffs. Fantastic. And it looks so exciting in Minnesota right now. So exciting. Like, Jalen McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, give them a better point guard than Mike Conley. And give them Tyus Jones. I know as a DC fan, I currently dislike Tyus Jones, but give them Tyus Jones. Mike Conley can still start, but Tyus Jones off the bench, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. There's something brewing in Minnesota, and in a few years they could win a championship. Oh my word, I just realised I've forgotten Ja Morant. Put Ja Morant where Anthony Edwards as well. They're both level at the exact moment I forgot about. Sorry, Ja Morant hasn't played in a while. Ja Morant is also at the same level. Put him at number 8 as well, level with Anthony Edwards. Imagine if I missed him out, that would have been bad. I will say, this is the perfect time to say, Damian Lillard didn't make my list. Sorry, I don't think he's better than any of the 25 players I've said. Ja Morant, I know he's been out for a lot, but we've seen when he came back, he was performing at the same level, even though he took a long period of out. Now he's going to come back again, and he's going to perform at the same level. And if I'm wrong, shoot me. At number 7, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We've seen Shai take, it's not even jump after jump after jump. My issue is, I don't want to start with issues. My issue with Shai. Shai has been performing at the same level for the past 2 seasons. I don't think he's elevated to now become an MVP level. I just think his team has gotten better. You add a player like Chet Holmgren into that team, and your team becomes better. Jalen Williams becomes even better, and your team elevates to another level. You see what I'm saying? So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for me, hasn't gotten tremendously better. I just think his team has gotten a lot better. But I still think he is a top 10 player of all time. Bloody hell. I still think he's a top 10 player in the league right now. I can't lie. And yeah, I've got him at number 7. Number 6 is Stephen Curry. Wardell Stephen Curry. I think people need to put more respect on his name. I think he had no help in Golden State. If they sign Paul George, this might be a championship caliber roster we're talking about. But currently they don't have Paul George, and Clay is going, so they need to make a big signing. They need to get rid of Chris Paul. Chris Paul. I know his contract isn't guaranteed, so you've got to waive whatever $5 million is guaranteed. And I don't know if you waive it, but you trade him so you can pick up Paul George. But they're massively over the luxury tax. But obviously Klay Thompson's going. But Steph Curry, we know how good Stephen Wardell Curry is, the best shooter in the league still to this day. And he's going to come out firing next season. I won't be surprised if Steph Curry, because of the chip on his shoulder, puts up an MVP level season next season. That's all I'm saying. Now we're into the top 5. I think the top 5 writes itself. I think everyone will mostly have this top 5. Not necessarily in this order, but they'll mostly have this top 5. At number 5, I have the 2023 MVP, Joel Embiid. Injuries stopped him from having a generational season this season, genuinely. But he can't stay fit, and that is becoming an issue with Joel Embiid. And the playoffs as well, obviously, he can't get past the second round. But if he manages to maintain his fitness and actually just put out the same output in the regular season, I'm not asking you to elevate Joel, just put out the same output, and you genuinely might win a chip. But Joel Embiid, we know how good he is. At number 4, we have NBA champion Jason Tatum. Obviously wasn't finals MVP and sometimes struggles in the last stages of the playoffs, to be fair, but we know what he is. We know he's a fantastic 3-level scorer. We know he's a great defender as well. We know he's the leader of that Celtics team. You can talk about who the best player on the team is, it still is him, let's be honest, but he is a fantastic player to the level where you recognize he is the leader of that team. He has a hitch in his shot as well, which quite annoys me sometimes, Jason Tatum. But it works, and sometimes he might take the most difficult shots in the world, but it works for him, and I just hope he takes it to the basket a bit more. He's 6'9", Jason. He's 6'9", built like a brick shit house. Just take it to the rim sometimes. But Jason Tatum, great player and an NBA champion. What can I say now? At number 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 65% field goal percentage. That literally, a field goal percentage rings in my mind on a daily basis this season, and I think he scored like 30 points per game this season. How good is Giannis Antetokounmpo? People have started, fatigue, voter fatigue. Not voter fatigue on Giannis, but it's like they have a fatigue. They have fatigue towards just how good Giannis Antetokounmpo is. He is one of the best players in the league, and when he's on his game, nobody can stop him. I think back to that final series in 2021, where he scored 50 points in the game, in the series winning game. 50 points. one of the best closing games in an NBA Finals we've ever seen. Shut down shop for the Phoenix Suns. We know how good Giannis is, not much me to say. And now you're probably wondering, does Luka's performances in the playoffs take him to number 1? Is Jokic number 2 still? Not still. Is Jokic number 2? Is Luka number 2 still? At number 2, I have Luka Doncic. I think Luka Doncic still hasn't superseded Nikola Jokic. I think if he would have won a chip this year, he would have been number 1. But I don't think he superseded Jokic. I think if they came up against the Nuggets, I think the Nuggets would have quite handedly beat the Dallas Mavericks. I think they're not in a position to beat them. I think the lack of defense in Dallas makes it difficult for them to beat the Denver Nuggets. But that's not obviously up to Doncic. Obviously, some of it is actually because Luka needs to improve as a defender. I mean, Jokic isn't a great defender, but Jokic is a good team defender. I spoke about all of this in the last video. But yeah, Luka Doncic, great player. Probably him or Tyrese Halliburton, best playmakers in the league. Maybe James Harden there as well. Fantastic player. And when the going gets tough, Luka never gets going. He's always there pushing, trying to win games, fighting. And he's cold. He's cold-blooded for real. And obviously number 1, Nikola Jokic. You might know how much I love Nikola Jokic. You know what? Nikola Jokic is the best playmaker in the league. Then it's Luka / Tyrese Halliburton. The best playmaker in the league. Best passer for a center. That's insane. He's still a great scorer as well. When he feels he needs to take on the more scoring role, he does in the team. He's not too fussed about his points total. He's not too fussed about any of his totals. He's just there to try and win for his team. And he doesn't even really care about basketball. That's what the most insane thing. Right now he's with his horses. I've seen him play a little bit of pickup basketball in Serbia. But we know how good Nikola Jokic is. All we need to see is next season, can the Denver Nuggets come back? So that is, I'm actually quite sweaty now because of that, my top 25 players in the NBA right now. Let me know what you man think. Make sure once again to like, comment, subscribe, make a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what videos you want to see come in the off season. And I'll see you man in a bit. Boom.